Hello YouTube, it's me, Chef Lethal, and I'm here with Path of Exile, a game that I have recently fallen back in love with, and I want you to share that joy with me as well. Maybe you've been burned by Diablo 4 in the recent past, or even Diablo 3 further back, and have decided to give Path of Exile a try. That's what this series is going to be for. I'm going to be starting at the very beginning, character creation, walking through all of the content of the game up until the end game, hopefully, if the series makes it that long. Explaining everything along the way, explaining the things that I do, why I do them, and just showing you the game. Because while this game is great, and there's something for everyone who enjoys action RPGs, some things are left to be desired as far as the explanations are concerned. So that's why I'm here. I'm not one of these experts that's got 20,000 hours in the game and explains things at a level here. I'm like a medium player, and I can explain things to beginners like yourself to not be overwhelmed by the absolute dearth of information this game throws at you and is available, because there's so much. So from that, the basic premise of this whole series is going to be minimally edited videos, starting the very beginning, moving all the way as far as I can record, basically. Probably 15 to 30 minute episodes, walking through content, getting done what we can do, and having fun and explaining everything while we do it. So I hope you enjoy that. And even if it's just to have on in the background while you're doing something else, that would really help me out and help out the channel as well, and just kind of inflate my ego a little bit. But my goal here is to pretty much just play the game vanilla, nothing special. We're not really doing anything too crazy, but there are a couple of tools and guides that we're going to be using to make this process a little bit easier, and other things that along the way I'll show you to help enhance the experience a little bit. Okay, so first there's the idea of what in the world are we going to do in game, right? There's 1,000 different directions you can start the game, and I asked my friends in Discord what they think the best starting, like, never played Path of Exile before build type is, and it's something called a Righteous Fire Juggernaut. Okay, and there's a great guide that we're going to follow, and I'm going to show you all these links. The whole purpose of this episode is to set the groundwork of what we're going to do, and then show you the tools that I'm going to be using so you can get them too, and we can go along with this together. Okay, so the very first thing that I want to talk about in Path of Exile, what you need to get is an item filter. Okay, there are maybe an infinite number of items in this game. Okay, and especially in the later game, if you kill a boss, the screen could literally be covered with item names, little tiny item names, just covering the entire screen, unless you have an item filter. Okay, so that's the very first thing we're gonna do, and we're gonna do that right now. On my screen is filterblade.xyz. The links will be in the description. Trust me, you need to use this website. It is a fan-based website that you can spend hours. This is like a mini game in itself of how you can customize your in-game item filter so that items appear how you want them to. Sounds can pop when you want them to certain items. Like, it's insane. We're not going to do all that. This is not a Filter Blade explainer minimally edited. That typo is going to be in the final video, but the idea here is that we're going to do a basic item filter and change it along the way. Okay, so I went to filterblade.xyz. I went up here to the top right. I know my directions, and I connected my Path of Exile account. This is a secondary account I have created just for this series. Okay, so I'm going to create a new filter. Here we go. Lots of different options. We're gonna be playing in softcore mode, SC. So when we die, there's really no penalty for it. And I think by default this is set to semi-strict, but for the purposes of the very beginning of this series and this episode and this everything, I'm gonna move it down to regular. and I'm going to leave it on the normal appearance. There's obviously all these different options you can do here, and you can even customize it beyond that. I'm not doing that. We're just going to hit normal, and I'm going to skip all this other stuff here at the top. Again, all this other stuff you can check. You can see what items will look like when they drop. Doesn't matter. I am just going to move straight on over to save and export. Okay, I'm going to name this, and I did have a test run of this recording earlier, and my toddler woke up from her nap, so I couldn't quite finish it. So I do have a name already kind of pre-filled here for Let's Play Filter. I'll make it public. I don't care. That's fine. It's totally basic, and I'm not going to do anything else. I'm going to go right to sync or download. I'm going to choose to download, and it boom went to go download right up here. And now it tells you right here what exactly you need to do. Move that file to the following folder, and it tells me exactly where I need to move it. So I'm not going to show that because there's some sensitive information, but I'm going to do that right now. Okay, so I downloaded the filter, moved it from my download folder into the My Documents, Games, and Path of Exile folder. Here it is, right here. That's all that needs to be done. Moving on to the next tool. In addition to the filter, another thing that we're going to be doing, because we're following a guide called the Righteous Fire Juggernaut, we're going to need a tool to track what we need to do along the way, okay? And to do that, we need Path of Building. So I just went to google.com, search for Path of Building. I'm going to click here on the first item, Path of Building, and you want to make sure it says Community Fork. If you're doing exactly what I'm doing, it's going to say Community Fork. One step ahead of the game. So you're going to download it, and you're going to go through that whole process. I've already downloaded it, so I'm not going to go do that myself, but download it, install it, and put the application on your desktop. You're going to want to use it, okay? And then the final tool that I'm going to talk about is Awakened PoE Trade. Now, we're not going to be using this in the beginning of the series, but as we progress, probably later near the end of the campaign, we're going to be looking at Awakened PoE Trade. It's a great tool to help assess if your item is valuable, because there's a way to trade in between players in the game, and it's pretty much baked into Path of Exile in a way. And I will show all of that as we get to that time. In the beginning, we're just going to be using items that we find on the ground, or that we can manipulate our own way with the items that we find. But getting Awakened PoE Trade is excellent. So I just went to google.com or whatever web search you choose and search for Awakened PoE Trade. And then you can find the download it, install it, and it will be there for you. Okay, and then anytime you launch Path of Exile, you want to make sure that Awakened PoE Trade is open. Once it's opened on your desktop, it'll just stay open until you restart or turn your computer off or whatever. Okay, so those are the three big tools that I want to talk about. Now, the final piece that is pivotal in the goal of starting this series for the Righteous Fire Juggernaut that I just talked about, how we're actually going to be playing the game, is here. Okay, so there's this famous YouTuber. I don't know if he's more known for his Twitch streams or his YouTube videos, but his name's Pokes, P like Paul, O-H-X. And so if you go to his website, pohx.net, he's got a whole website dedicated to RF, Righteous Fire, and guides. You can check this out. I'm going to link all of these in my description as well. Every single video, I'm going to have a link to this site, because I want to make sure he gets credit, okay? And if I make any money off of this series, if you guys go to my PayPal or Ko-Fi or subscribe to me on Twitch or anything like that, because of this series, I will make sure to go to his Patreon and give some back to him, because that's the whole purpose of why I'm doing this. Based on his extensive write-ups of this build, okay? So, if you've gone in order of everything I've talked about here, you should have Path of Building open on your system. So I'm going to go to this region. Now, depending on when you watch this video, I'm recording this in November 2023. We're nearing the end of the 3.22 Ancestor League, but we're going to be playing in standard mode, and I'll explain all of that in the next episode when we actually create our character. But this may change, but I assume it'll be remotely the same. I'm going to go to the RF League starter here. I'm going to hit copy URL. Okay, so boom, copied, done. Now I'm going to open up Path of Building, and I'm going to drag it over here so you can see. Boom, here's Path of Building. This is intimidating, okay? So there's like a split mentality of when you start the game. Should you follow a build guide, or should you just kind of navigate the game on your own and figure out how you want to go as you go? You can absolutely do that if you want, okay? I'm here to tell you there can be a lot of value if you're just starting this game to say, okay, I'm just going to go in blind and I'm going to play and I'm just going to do what feels right. By all means, go for it. Okay, I'm not going to stop you from doing that. But it will get to a point where either you will get frustrated because you're not doing enough damage, or you're getting killed too fast, or just something doesn't feel right because you're not taking the right path, or you're going to hamstring yourself, and by the end of the campaign or the end of Act 6 or 7 or whatever, you're just going to hit a wall because you've taken the wrong path, or you don't know where to go next, okay? That's why I advocate for following a build guide first. Get a feel for the game. Get a feel for what it feels like to go through this, because this is the skill tree, okay? This all that's behind me, this is the entire freaking skill tree, okay? This is a lot to take in. And if you don't know what you're doing, hello, what in the world? I get overwhelmed with 12 options, let alone 4,000 options here, okay? This is insane. We need help. So I've got that URL copied to my clipboard, right? So I'm just gonna go over here to import build, and I'm gonna paste in right here. URL is valid, awesome, and I'm gonna import it. Now it's gonna take a minute, but look, we have got a build guide loaded in. So looks like you can pick between your tree, which is obviously what we're looking at, skills here, your items that you're wearing, and different calculations. For right now, ignore calculations. Don't even worry about it. Stick to tree, skills, and items. Those are the big three that you're going to be concerned about. And down at the bottom here, there's going to be different options that you can select to help move you along in the right direction. Okay, so in the very beginning, from when you're between level 1 and 17, this is going to show you. This is your starting point, and then every level that you gain from experience, you're going to follow this, okay? And you're gonna, it's a pretty linear path of where you want to go. And then after you hit level 17, you're gonna hit this next one, 17 to 31, and it's gonna fill in more nodes for you and kind of give you an idea of where you want to go next. And then after you hit level 31, you're gonna go with this one, okay? And it's the same thing throughout the entire campaign and beyond, okay? Because otherwise, if you just were to start up and you hit this last, you know, let's say 93 to 96, level 93 to 96, and you just open this up and it shows you all these nodes you need to take, you don't know what direction to go. I mean, you have to start here, but do you start here and then you come down here and get to here and then start going down to this protection mastery? Or do you have to go over here? Where do you go? No, we stick to the plan, go right down the list, okay? And then this is the first time, honestly, this is the first time I've looked at it. So item set, okay, this should change as well. So if I go back to the tree, we're experimenting here, and I select 17 to 31, it's going to go to items. Okay, this doesn't change. That's okay. We pick 17 to 31, and this is going to change. Now, this is all suggested items of what you should be looking out to get. This is not required. This game is fully random. There's no guarantee you will get any of this or anything close, but there are ways that we can manipulate that, and there's ways that we can do our best. And honestly, a lot of the first 4 to 5 acts, it's just getting set, getting some damage, and being able to survive. Okay, and the same thing with skills. Different drop downs here where we're, where you are based on the game. What are you doing? Have you done certain things? Are you at this level? Do you have these skill gems? Okay, and then let's see if he has any notes. He's got quite a bit of notes here, and this is what we're going to be using as we walk through. Now, in addition to the path of building, where he's got all this information, and it's actually a lot of information, there's one other resource that I would say you could go to. And if you go back to his website, pohx.net, pox, I don't know. So sorry. If you go to the written guide for Jug here, I'm going to click here. This is going to bring up the Path of Exile, PoE Vault, Righteous Fire. Get rid of the advertisements. We don't need them. And this is a full-on write-up from soup to nuts of what to do with this build. Okay, introduction. How do you want to do it for leveling? Talking in depth about the passive tree, gear that you need, how to level it, everything. Okay, so this is a good starting point if you want to get overwhelmed with information, or you could just watch my videos, because I'm going to be pretty much following this to a T. I might make some deviations, but for the most part, going through this. And once the actual skill Righteous Fire is up and running, it's a pretty easy experience. Great to explain the game and get a feel of how the whole thing works. Okay, so that's it. That's the idea here. That's all I really wanted to cover with you in this inaugural first episode, is to set the groundwork of, we're going to be playing Path of Exile. I'm going to be teaching you the mechanics. As I'm playing the game and things pop up, I'm going to explain it to you. And I'm going to explain it to you like you've never played the game before. I'm going to take some liberties, I'm sure, of, have you played an action RPG in the past? Do you know what health and mana are? But for the most part, it's going to be a, explain it like I'm 5 walkthrough of this game as much as I can. And I'll say it again. You can go on YouTube and look for, Path of Exile beginner guide or whatever, and you're gonna find YouTubers who've got thousands of hours, hundreds of thousands of followers, and they're experts at this game, right? And I had this frustration personally where I'm watching these guides of people that have all this knowledge and expertise, but they don't remember what it's like to play as a beginner. And I was getting frustrated because I'm like, okay, you just did this thing and you're trying to explain it to me, but you just blew it up. You didn't explain what in the world you were doing, or why you did it, or how that happened. So cool. I guess I have to find a new video. I wish Chef Lethal would make a video like this. And here I am. So that's going to be it for this episode. I'm going to probably record the next one. Like I said, I'm going to try to keep them between 15 and 30 minutes. So they're a little bit easier to digest, but I also don't want to cut off in the middle of a mission or something like that. So just something to look out for the future. But I want to thank you so much for making it this far, and hopefully you stick with me through this series. Hopefully I stick with it. My goal is, since it's not going to be heavily edited, pretty much everything I do is probably just going to be one take. So you're going to hear all of the shenanigans and thoughts in my head. But I'm hoping with the low level of effort it's going to take. Oh my gosh, these adverts are horrendous. I'm hoping with the low level of effort for me, it will be easier for me to maintain, because honestly, if you don't know, I'm a busy guy. I work full time. I'm married. I've got 3 kids, 2 dogs, 2 cats. My house is insane. Okay, so the time that I have to be able to do this, I also stream. If you're interested in watching live streams, twitch.tv/ChefLethalPlays. All those links will be in the description. I'm sure, if I remember, Twitter. I don't really tweet very much, honestly, but if you wanted to follow me on Twitter, I'm there. You can subscribe to the Twitch channel. If you feel like monetarily contributing to the channel, thank you. I have a Ko-fi, or you could go to my Twitch channel and give money to me directly, which feels kind of gross to say that out loud, but I'm just gonna put it out in the world. So, yeah, that's it for this right now. I hope to see you soon for the first official episode of Chef Lethal Plays Path of Exile slow walkthrough series, getting through the game. That's it for me tonight. See you next time.